Welcome. Today we're going to talk about LinkedIn basics. And the first question I always ask is, are you LinkedIn? It's more important than ever for any business professional to have a profile on LinkedIn. It is way more than just a list of your contacts. It really is your address book on steroids. It's a great way to reconnect with former coworkers, peers, people you haven't seen in years but have a former professional relationship with. It's also a wonderful way to make new connections and to strengthen relationships as you meet new people in the real world. It's a wonderful way to establish yourself as a subject matter expert as you share articles and information that are of interest to you. And it is very helpful if you are a sales professional looking to identify a path to decision makers. You can see who you know who's connected to the person that ultimately will decide whether or not they buy from you. LinkedIn is huge. There are over 400 million registered members worldwide. And while that number is impressive for most of us doing business here in the United States and looking for jobs in the U.S., we're really more interested in how many users there are right here at home. And there are over 128 million members in the U.S. The platform is still just slightly more male than female, which, when you look at the ranks of business professionals, is not surprising. But new members are joining LinkedIn at a rate of 2 per second. That number is just staggering to me. And 1 out of every 3 professionals on the planet are on LinkedIn. So the question is, are you on LinkedIn and are you using it well? Really and truly, one of the best reasons to be on LinkedIn is the numbers. You may know 100 or 200 people, or maybe you know 1,000 or 2,000 people. But each of the people that you know knows people. And they may know 100, 200, or 1,000 people. And each of those people knows people as well. Now, the truth is that as long as I've been on LinkedIn, and that's almost 15 years now, I have never been able to reach a third-degree connection through the platform. But I have been able to reach a lot of people who are only 2 degrees away. These were my numbers a few years ago. I actually have close to 4,000 contacts now. So what that means is I can look at almost any company here in Indianapolis and I can find someone who is connected to someone that I know. So if I need an introduction, I have an opportunity to reach out and make that happen. It's free to join. So if you're not on LinkedIn, now's a great time to get started. The thing that I really like about LinkedIn is it steps you through the process. It basically asks you a series of questions as you're getting started, and you simply fill in the information as you go. And if there's something you don't know the answer to, or you're not quite sure how you want to present it, you can always go back later and fill in that information. You want to fill out your complete profile, and you'll notice we had a little bit of fun when we were working on the slides for this program, and we created a profile for Benny, our office cat. This is not something that we expect is going to have legs, and we're not going to have Benny reach out to other people. We just needed screen grabs of a new employee, and so we tested it with Benny. You want to take the time when you're filling out your profile to add work, school, and associations that you're involved with. You want to list your accomplishments and not just your job titles. Let people know what you've done Make sure you've got a professional looking photo. It can be taken by an amateur as long as it's well lit and clear and that you look good in it. And we're going to have a closer look at profile images in a minute. If you have other social media accounts, company website or blog, link to those as well. And then customize your profile URL. So instead of it being linkedin.com and then a series of ridiculous numbers, your name should appear at the end. And so my profile is Lorraine Ball and my company profile is Roundpeg. And keep in mind that all the content on this page is searchable. So add links, grab tags, create anchor text, use keywords in the description so if somebody is searching LinkedIn or Google for someone like you, your profile is more likely to come up. And then let's take a quicker look at your profile images. Number one, yes, these are fun, but remember that the profile image is a solo act. This should not be you with anyone, not your child, not your spouse, not your pet. This is your professional platform, and the photo should be just you. And smile. Your image should make me want to get to know you. We all have bad days. I get it. Not on LinkedIn. And it needs to be a recent photo, please. Yes, I know that 10 years ago you looked spectacular in that suit or that dress or your hair was just perfect. But if you don't look like that anymore, it's time to change the photo. And dress for the job that you want. Get rid of the logo t-shirts, the costumes, the uniforms. Unless you're applying for a job as an NFL player, there should be no football gear in the picture. And no logos on your personal profile. You need to have a picture of you. Logos belong on your company page. And actually, you are in violation of LinkedIn's terms of service if you're using a logo on your personal profile. The other thing to think about when you're selecting both your profile image and then also as you do your company page, what happens to that image in the timeline? It gets pretty small. And so you want it to be fairly close. See how nice and welcoming she looks? I'm sure this is a great picture of this gentleman, but here he looks like a pea on the top of a lump. I can't see his face. I can't see who he is. And imagine how much smaller he's going to look if this is on his phone. Same thing with your logo. Go ahead and create an avatar instead of a long horizontal logo that's going to be too small to read anyway. Put the power in your pocket and get the app for your phone. It's a great way to stay in touch when you're waiting at a coffee shop or online somewhere. Hop on LinkedIn and just see really fast what's going on. Who's got a new job? Who's got a birthday? Who should you be following up with? Reach out and make connections. LinkedIn will recommend lots of people. Scan the list. If you really know them, reach out and ask to connect. The more people you're connected to, the more opportunities you have to reach outside that circle. Ask for introductions. When LinkedIn tells you that you're connected to someone that you think you want to know, ask for an intro. But don't just say, hey, can you hook me up? Can you introduce me? Tell the person why you want them to extend the invitation. I'm trying to make a connection with people who are interested in. I think I have something of value. I hope to get a job working for. Let the person know why they're introducing you, and they're more likely to do a higher quality introduction. And here's an example. Here's who I want to meet. Get noticed. If you want people to pay attention to you on LinkedIn, you have to be producing content. You can share information from your blog or other articles that you think are interesting. Just remember, this is a business platform. Leave the motivational quotes and the quizzes and the games and the trivia facts to platforms like Facebook and Twitter. This needs to be about business. What kind of content makes a positive impression? On LinkedIn, it's low volume, high value. That means you don't have to do it very often, but when you do it, it needs to be relevant. I would say a minimum of twice a week to stay in people's kind of front of mind. Maximum 5 times a week. You don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to appear desperate. And this content should be more formal and a little bit technical than maybe you would share on platforms like Facebook or Twitter. Join groups. Look for different groups. Some of the criteria that I typically use to decide which groups I want to be a part of usually boils down to, are there good discussions? Are they well managed? Is it a permission-based group? Open groups tend to be very cluttered, very busy, with lots of people shouting and not a lot of good conversation. And then if you're going to join a group, be active. And what that means is that from time to time you need to ask a question, share interesting content, and interact with others in the group. At the end of the day, you want to be someone that people want to know. When they click on your profile, there should be things that make them say, this person is interesting and I want to get to know her. Maybe it's blog posts, maybe it's articles, maybe it's things that you've liked or shared. Maybe it's your background. One of the things that I really like to do in addition to blog posts is you can share PowerPoint presentations and articles that you've written and other things that help establish you professionally. You want to have complete job descriptions, and I'm going to encourage you that for every job that you've held, see if you can get a few recommendations. See if you can get a few people who will say, this person rocks, and you should get to know him or her. Don't be shy. If you have awards and certifications, list them. Let people know that you're committed to continuous improvement. Where you've gone to school, every company that you've worked for, one of the reasons to fill out all of this information as completely as you can is because it creates links, and then LinkedIn will find other people who went to that school, who worked for that company. I'm not really a big fan of the endorsements, but if people will endorse you, periodically it's nice to return the favors. I don't think anybody really pays any attention at all to this part of your page. Ultimately, you want to be someone that people want to get to know. Questions? If you have any, please feel free to email me at lorraineball@roundpeg.biz or find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect.